Well, since we got back from the winter break here at Lokomotive Leipzig, we have only won one of our 5 games. And next up for us, we take on one of the other 2 teams in a promotion hunt alongside us in Magdeburg. Would be a good time, I think, to start winning again. Hello everyone and welcome to episode 16 of the Leipzig Loko with Lokomotive Leipzig here on Sean Does FM. I hope you are doing well, and coming up today we play a big game in the promotion race with only 12 games left in these seasons. We do host Magdeburg, currently in 2nd, and then off the back of taking on SV Meppen off camera, we also host Osnabruck, who are currently in 5th place. 2 big games in that promotion hunt today. If you are looking forward to today's episode, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also consider hitting that subscribe button and turning that notification bell on as well. It is greatly appreciated, but unfortunately we have continued to drop points off the back of the winter break. We did play 2 games back from that at the end of last week. Apologies about the footage from the game we got for that, because unfortunately stuffed up a setting in OBS for the recording, which was a little bit of a shame. Hopefully it's a bit better today, but if you missed that episode, we did take on both Kaiserslautern and the Dortmund seconds. I'll leave a link to that one over in the top right corner, since they're just the one game. We took on Unterhaken. Those guys currently all the way down in 18th on the table, and as you can see over above my head, yet again drop points even though this one was away from home. Did feel like a game that we should have got more from. We actually went in front in the 69th minute. Nice time to score there through Jamal Ziani, but they got one back and it was a really scrappy goal as well in the 90th minute. Overall, they actually had more shots than us on target as well as the XG, but after grabbing a lead with only 20 minutes left, the manner of this goal, which we did concede, was very, very frustrating. Once the game does load and we can show you guys it, it was from the back of a free kick. Weigl there with a diving header. We don't quite deal with the danger and somehow leave Pepic there open at that far post. Just sneaks that one by Isadogan, and that was the equaliser. A very frustrating goal that our defence should have dealt with, but unfortunately it does mean more drop points, and we are still down in 4th. Thankfully, Erzgebirge though are now a little bit closer to us than they were going into that match day, because they actually lost to the league leaders in Dynamo Dresden, so that gap has closed up to the team in 3rd, and of course that is a playoff against the team that does finish 3rd bottom of the 2 Bundesliga, and 3 points further up to a Magdeburg team who we are about to play. Hopefully we can beat these guys, and that should give us a decent chance still of maybe getting that 2nd spot in the league, which would also be automatic promotion up to the 2 Bundesliga. Far easier than having to go through a playoff to try and get there. So hopefully we can pick up some good results today and maybe sneak our way up to that 2nd spot on the table, depending on how those other 2 teams do get on in the other fixtures that are playing, while we do play these 3 over the course of today's episode. And as I said, this first one today is probably the biggest game in the episode. We take on Magdeburg, hopefully make sure that they don't pinch a bit of a gap on potentially both us and Erzgebirge down in 3rd, but they do come into this one in quite a nice patch of form, have not lost in the last 5, including the last 2 against Ingolstadt and plus a monster. That's becoming a little bit of a joke here on this channel with this season, the Free Liga. Every time we come back for a game, it seems like teams are playing those 2 before they do take us on. But as you can see, they are in quite a nice patch of form, but hopefully we can get the better of them. And we did pick up a 1-0 win against these guys earlier in the season, so hopefully at home this one can be another win. And as I said, we can close the gap on them. Obviously we did suffer a pretty big injury at the end of last week to Linus Simmer, so it does mean now that Nico Reblay will make his way back into the team as the starting left back, but otherwise we're pretty good going into this game in terms of availability, and we'll come back shortly with the team sheets, and as I said, hopefully just close that gap on Magdeburg in 2nd spot on the table. And here are the team sheets for the first game of today's episode. There we are. As I said, obvious change with that injury to Zimmer. It does mean that Reblay is staying at left back. Apart from that though, we are at full strength, so hopefully can pull out a good result against the team we did beat away from home earlier in the season, albeit they come into this one in a bit better form than us, it is fair to say, and also above us on the table, but obviously big game if we do want to hopefully keep in the hunt for that automatic promotion spot in 2nd. And 7 minutes into this one, we get the first highlight. It is a goal kick here to Magdeburg. They pump this one deep, and Eaglesetter completely stuffs that one up. Big chance there, and thankfully this time it is us on the defence who stops a shot from a player who takes that one around the goalkeeper. We've seen that go against us quite a bit so far in this save. Thankfully, finally, it does go the other way, but now Nico Reblay there tried to play a pass. It got blocked by a Magdeburg player, and they get it back here down the right-hand side, albeit play that one back to Lehmann in goal. Now Heber at centre-back is on a yellow card. Hopefully we can make the most of that, but they still keep the ball here to Magdeburg. Fair to say they are looking the more threatening team early in this game based on the highlights that we are seeing. Eze back in there for Krem Picky. Nice ball there for Gutau, who gets in behind our defence and blasts that one over the top of Isadogan in goal. And yet again at home, we get off to a rough start. To be fair, our home form since the winter break has actually been worse than our away form, and that is not a good sign going in to this run home, of course, in this promotion hunt like we are in. But Gutau there gets in behind our defence, rockets that one into the roof of the net, and puts Magdeburg 1-0 up. And only 5 minutes off the back of that opening goal, we are now down the other end here for a free kick, and Owosu here with a decent chance. He has scored from these in the past few episodes. That one does take a decent block, and Search gets on the end of that one from the rebound, but unfortunately that one hits the post, and we are still 1-0 behind. And just shy of the half-hour mark, we have the next highlight in this game. Good chance there for Ziani to pinch that ball, but for some reason just hoofs that one straight into the path of the goalkeeper. Far too much on that one for him to try and get possession back, and now Magdeburg will look to extend their lead. Nice ball there for Kwarting inside the box, and Molitz Bloni Kwarting puts that one away in the top left corner, and now we are in a world of hurt here at home. 2-0 around about halfway through this first half. Really need to do a good recovery job from here. We probably could have done a bit better there when we did have the chance to get the ball back, albeit only did have Ziani up front, and from there they did build well from the back. Nice ball there for Kwarting. He tucks that one away, and just like that, we do have to overcome a 2-goal deficit here at home, and it's looking now like the best that we might be able to do this season might be having to go for a playoff against the team that does finish third bottom of the 2 Bundesliga, albeit now on the attack. Ricardo Grimm plays that one over the top. Ziani will hit the post, but he was clearly offside, so it wouldn't have counted anyway, and we are 2-0 down at the half-hour mark. And only a few minutes off the back of that goal and that chance, which was offside, we now are down the right end of the field with a throw-in inside the final third. This time, good short passing. Ricardo Grimm in lots of space, but unfortunately puts that one just wide of the target. So we are creating chances, but so far, no shots on target, and still 2-0 behind. And just about to enter injury time in this first half. One more highlight here. It's a late free kick to Magdeburg. Thankfully, despite the fact they do get a head on the end of that one, it does go just over the bar onto the roof of the net. And that is half-time. We did eventually actually get a shot on target. That is the area so far, and in quite a few recent games, that is leading us down. We are 2-0 behind. Need to give the boys a decent rev up here at half-time. We are going to make some substitutions. Abdurrahmane on a 6.4. Weigel can come on for him. Also, Ziani only going okay. We'll bring on Kevin Zizek and might even try him as a pressing forward. We'll just see if that works with this fluid counter-attacking style, and it might bring Zizek back to form. Did score a few goals at the end of last week in a game that we did play off camera, but apart from that, his goal-scoring touch of late does seem to have disappeared from him. But we're going to make some changes here at halftime, and hopefully that will try and get us back on the front foot and back into this game. We'll get the second half underway, 2-0 behind. And just over 5 minutes into the second half, the first highlight here is a throw-in in our favour. Owosu here has the ball down this right-hand side, tries to play one into the mix. There it is blocked, and they do get the ball back here. Do Magdeburg, good tackle there from Owosu to nearly get the ball back for us, but Magdeburg do have a chance here to play out from the back. They now switch us out left. We nearly get that one back there through Nico Reblay, but they do keep it quite well to Magdeburg, and so far we haven't created a ton of good chances, albeit I say that we did create a few in the first half, but unfortunately just didn't really hit the target enough. That is not a good tackle from Kevin Zizek. He has been on the field for only 7 minutes and gets a red card, and now we are absolutely stuffed in this game. We might have to change a few player roles, but truth be told, we might just go strikerless for the rest of this game, or for a little bit anyway, and see how that goes. But this is not going to end well. I feel like we are 2-0 down, and now playing with 10 men for most of the second half. And nearly into the last 20 minutes of this one, and we do have a free kick off the back of that red card. Good chance there for Eagles there at the far post, but unfortunately puts that one just wide. Doing a decent job since we have been down to 10 men, but unfortunately still 2-0 behind, and this could be a loss, which does mean automatic promotion might be a little bit tough. We've still got 3 subs left and 3 players down to red hearts. Interesting to see there that Panzo Ernesto has picked up an injury. Eric Vufak can come on for him. Also, Leon Heinke and Owosu are down to red hearts. So Dombloa will come on for Owosu. And we might move Ogbidi on for Heinke. And we might just try and play with a striker instead of a defensive midfielder for these last 15 or so minutes and see if we can get ourselves back into this game, albeit down to 10 men and 2-0 behind. And we entered the last 5 minutes of this game, so it would appear the answer to that question is no. We cannot get ourselves back into this game down to 10 men. Obviously, the first half didn't help, already being 2-0 down. But then the red card to Kevin Zizek just put the cherry on top of Magdeburg to pick up a 2-0 win. To be fair, we weren't that bad overall, just shots on target, which is kind of an important stat in football. To be fair, Magdeburg only 3 shots on target, but 2 of these did find the back of the net, and they do pick up a 2-0 win, which will have quite a big impact in this promotion hunt. As I said, it might mean now, with 11 games left in our season, we might just have a little bit too much ground to try and make up, to grab that automatic spot for promotion up to the 2 Bundesliga. Now 7 points behind. I think now for us the big goal is to try and keep pace with Erzgebirge and make our way through to a playoff against the team who do finish third bottom of the 2 Bundesliga, but that was not a good result. Unfortunately, 2-0 down before the half, and that red card as well to Kevin Zizek. We'll come back shortly and hopefully have got back on track against SV Meppen before we take on 5th place Osnabruck. And we are back with the highlights from our away trip against SV Meppen. There you can see it was a throw in there. We did win the ball from an Owosu, plays that one forward to Ziani at the 8-minute mark. We do grab an early 1-0 lead from there. Played pretty well. Really needed a cushion goal though, because unfortunately in the 85th minute Alvarez somehow gets past our defence there, down that right hand side, rockets that one into the top right corner, and again we drop points in this one in particular. A very frustrating one against the team just outside the relegation zone, and with that lead for so long in this game. As you can see, pretty much all the stats were in our favour. We had less shots but more on target this time, which was quite encouraging off the back of that previous performance against Magdeburg, but more drop points, and it's starting to come against teams we should really be picking up points against, especially these ones away from home, taking on teams in the bottom half of the table. So it does mean going in to the second game of today's episode, we are now 4 points behind Erzgebirge as they have picked up a win in their game in hand. So hopefully we can beat Osnabruck. Otherwise, they might actually get themselves into this hunt for promotion as well. If we beat those guys, we should still keep it to a 4-horse race, albeit these days might be closer to a 2-horse race. Dynamo Dresden already as good as promoted, and Magdeburg now with a decent gap up in second. Hopefully we can make it a 2-horse race between us and Erzgebirge for that third spot, and hopefully also improve our goal differential, because that is something at the moment we do have over those guys, and we did beat them earlier in the season. So hopefully that would mean even if they beat us and we take them on later this season, that goal differential could be a key factor in grabbing that third spot. Unfortunately though, before we do have a look at Osnabruck going into this game, we go over to the medical centre, because we have picked up a few more injuries and a virus to one of our players since that first game of today's episode. Lucas Searcher virus, he will be missing for this next game. He is out for 5 to 6 days, so that is our best centre back who is out for this one. And also, Tobias Dombloa has picked up some sprained knee ligaments. He is out for 12 days to 5 weeks, so it does mean we are going to be using one of our youngsters from the youth intake last year in Danny Hermel on the bench as right wing cover. Ogbidi might be more of left wing cover for this upcoming game. Also, Kevin Zizek, of course, can make his way back on the bench, albeit we might not use him. He's been pretty awful this season, it's fair to say, and not too happy with him off the back of that red card, but hopefully Jamal Ziani can perform and we won't need to call upon the disgraced striker who has been pretty underwhelming so far this season, to be fair, like quite a few of the signings that we did make at the start of the season. But this is actually quite a big game for us. As I said, we want to keep this to a 2-horse race for that third spot in the league, and if Osnabruck pick up a win here, that will make things interesting. They'll join us on points. They'll still be behind us because of goal differential. But this could be interesting. Of course, this was a team who handed us our first defeat of the season earlier on. Since then, we have been very patchy yet again. They've taken on Ingolstadt and Plus and Munster prior to this game. Mixed results, but to be fair, they've picked up more wins since the winter break than we have. So it could be interesting here, but hopefully keep it to a two-horse race for that third spot in the Free Liga, so we can hopefully try and go up through a playoff against the two Bundesliga third worst team in that division, and we'll come back shortly and hopefully get one back over these guys in front of our home fans. And here are the team sheets for the second game of today's episode against Osnabruck, looking for revenge after these guys handed us our first loss of the season. Early on, Lamptey comes in for search, but apart from that, pretty similar team to the one that we did put out for that first game of today's episode, as well as that previous draw away at SV Meppen. There were Osnabruck mixing their form just a little bit, but obviously this now quite a big clash, 4th versus 5th. Hopefully, as I said, we can just keep it to a two-horse race for that third spot. And just past the 15-minute mark, the first highlight in this game is a corner, albeit in favour of Osnabruck. So far, we have been the only team to do anything in this game, but Osnabruck here with the first chance. They get that ball back, and now Leipzig in a bit of tight space down that right-hand side. Very similar spot to where we conceded the goal in that previous game, which was the equaliser. Thankfully, that one does just go wide, and right off the back of that, we are shown the goal kick, and thankfully do win the ball back, but to get flashbacks there from that equaliser against SV Meppen. Thankfully, that time did not find the back of net. Big chance there, though, for Jamal Ziani. Tucks it away, and hopefully, now that we have grabbed a lead in this game, we can hold on to it, unlike what we did away from home at SV Meppen. That was a good goal, and hopefully gives us some confidence for the rest of this one. Tilgan plays us over the top. Ziani must have just been sitting on the shoulder of the last defender, opens his body up nicely, and puts that one away in that top right corner, and a much better start than in that Magdeburg game. We take an early 1-0 lead. And we've just made our way into the last 5 minutes of this first half, and it is now a throw-in here to Osnabruck inside the final third. Hopefully, we can hold on to this lead before we do go into the shed. Some good marking there, though, from that throw-in. And now a good chance for us here on the counter-attack. So far, managing to find teammate to Tilgan. Plays that over the top for Ziani. Will beat the goalkeeper at his near post. That is a very good counter-attacking goal, and we finally try and put a team to bed here in one of our games. It's been a fair while since we have grabbed a cushion goal here at Lokomotive Leipzig, and this time we do it only a few minutes shy of halftime. Really good work there off the back of Owosu, getting that ball back for us. Slightly iffy there from the goalkeeper. It goes between his legs, but we'll take that 2-0, only a few minutes shy of halftime, and hopefully that will just about do it for the first half, and thankfully we do get into the sheds still 2-0 up, and that is the most encouraging scoreline that we have had for a fair while here at Lokomotive Leipzig, only of course having won that one game since we did come back for the winter break. We might make one change here though at halftime with Leon Heinke on a yellow card. Paulo Piplica can come on for him, but apart from that, pretty happy with how that first half went. Hopefully we can just hold on to this 2-goal lead and pick up an important 3 points. And about 10 minutes into the second half, yet again we start things off here with a throw-in to Osnabruck. Hopefully they do nothing from this. Decent chance there for Wolf at the near post. Thankfully though, decent block there. I think that was from Ingolstadt, albeit they do have a corner off the back of that, which Neiman is about to take. He whips that one into the mixer. Thankfully though, Ingolstadt does hit that one away, albeit the danger not over just yet. And it is actually a little bit dodgy there off the back of a near penalty and then a shot which Dogan makes a save from, but thankfully the highlight is over and it is still 2-0 in our favour. Now another one does start here as we have the ball and start to make our way into the opposition half. Nice pass there from Abdullah. Can't quite link up with Ziani Owosu from a tight angle, but the goalkeeper with a decent save, but thankfully still 2-0 up. And in fact, right off the back of that highlight, just checking player fitness, and unfortunately, Tilgan is down to a red heart, so with those limited options, with that injury to John Brubber at left wing, Old Biddy will come on for him, still for 2-0 lead and a half hour left. And only a couple of minutes off the back of that last highlight and that substitution, which we did make, it is now a free kick here to Osnabruck as they try and get their way back into this game. Jumpy with a free kick, comes off the post, goes across the face of goal. Thankfully, we deal with that danger, and we are still 2-0 up somehow. And with 15 minutes left in this one, we are going to make our last few substitutions. At this time, as you can see, our midfield as well as Owosu are down to red hearts. Now, obviously, we don't have two midfield options on the bench, so because of that, we might bring on, or at least I'll try and bring on, Eric Vufak for one of those midfielders so we can move Panzo Ernesto into the midfield alongside Jordi and Weigl. That does mean that Vufak will go out to right wing. Also, of course, an easier sub there as Hermel can come on for Ogbidi. In fact, we might actually bring on Kevin Zizek, even though I'm a bit angry at him. He's a bit better and might actually find some form in that right wing role in a game where we are in front. So hopefully we can grab one more goal, and it might even be to him to try and find him a bit of form. But those will be our last three changes: Vufak, Weigl, and Zek off the bench as we try and hold this 2-0 lead. And that was it for that game. There was one highlight right towards the end, but absolutely nothing happened. A couple of block shots, which I did feel like nothing really was there to show you guys that made too much importance in this one. But thankfully, back on track in a game, which if we lost, could have made things a bit more dicier in our hunt for promotion. Thankfully, it does mean now that Osnabruck are a bit further behind us, and we do close the gap on Erzgebirge, still just 1 point behind them. And now our goal differential is 5 better than theirs. So as I said, that could be a big difference maker if we do end up joint on points. But that was a big win, keeps Osnabruck 6 points behind us. And now closing that gap back to 1 on Erzgebirge, our first win in a little while, as we do beat Osnabruck by 2-0. And back in the inbox, I think those two games in today's episode. Disappointing loss to Magdeburg in the first game, but thankfully back on track against Osnabruck off the back of that draw, which did feel like a better performance away from home against SV Meppen. So hopefully from here we can start to pick up a few more wins and maybe put the pressure on Erzgebirge and try and make our way into a playoff to get up to the 2 Bundesliga. Also, we'll have to go back in time for this one, but did try and get my contract here at the club renewed during the course of today's episode. Unfortunately though, that was not able to happen because as you can see, the financial position of the club at present is unstable, so no one is getting a new deal before it's absolutely necessary. So we'll see what that means, whether we stay here on a month-to-month contract or something does happen towards the end of the season. But that bad financial situation we could not fix during the transfer window is still having an impact here and now on the contracts that we can offer to both us as a manager and probably also to our players and our coaches at the club as well. And going back to where we did end things in today's episode, a quick look at the free Liga table before we do wrap things up. There is what things do look like. As I said, now just 1 point behind Erzgebirge, but with that goal differential advantage, which could actually work in our favour come the end of the season if we do end up joint on points. But I think that will do it for today's episode. A bit of a mixed episode that lost to Magdeburg, but thankfully a big win. Might be just when we needed it to at home against Osnabruck. If you enjoyed this one, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also consider hitting that subscribe button and turning that notification bell on as well. We'll come back for the next episode. We'll just have a look at the fixtures which we do have remaining. I think the obvious one we come back for next is taking on the team who now we are really keeping an eye out on in this fight for promotion. We'll take on Erzgebirge, and hopefully if we can beat those guys, might be able to move up into that third position if we haven't done so by then. Take on the likes of Wühl and Duisburg before then, but we'll take on Erzgebirge, and probably our biggest game left of the season considering the situation that we do find ourselves in. And also we'll probably play the game off the back of that, taking on RW Essen at home. Hopefully can continue now to pick up points at home off the back of finally grabbing our first win there in a little while, our first one at home since we did come back from the winter break. So hopefully tomorrow we can work our way into one of those promotion spots proper and start to think maybe about a playoff to try and get up to the 2 Bundesliga come the end of the season. So until then, tomorrow for Erzgebirge and RW Essen, thank you very much for watching. Keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.
Thought I could do this, left through the sadness. Don't know how